Hey everyone. As AI practitioners, we're used to looking at models from the outside, but today we're going inside. A researcher has managed to extract what can only be described as the soul document of Claude 4.5 Opus. This isn't just a system prompt, it's a foundational text compressed directly into the model's weights, shaping its core character. If you've ever wondered how one of the most advanced AIs actually times thinks, this is it. Let's dive in. So, how was this document found? It wasn't a simple leak or a forgotten file on a server. The process was more like a digital detective story, starting with a strange anomaly and ending with a clever extraction method. It all began with something that looked like a typical hallucination. A researcher, Richard Weiss, was probing Claude 4.5's system message. But instead of random nonsense, the model repeatedly mentioned a specific, non-standard section, Soul Overview. You can see it in this screenshot. For an experienced AI researcher, this was a huge red flag. It wasn't just noise, it was a consistent signal pointing to a hidden internal structure. This was the first clue. Okay, so you have a clue. How do you get the full document? You can't just ask for it. Weiss employed a brilliant method. He set up what he called a council of 20 parallel Claude instances. He'd feed them a starting prompt, and then, for each next piece of text, he required a consensus. For example, at least 10 of the 20 instances had to agree on the output for it to be considered true and added to the prompt for the next step. It's a methodical way to filter out randomness and lock onto the underlying data. Let's get technical for a moment. This technique is a variation of self-consistency. By setting the temperature to 0 and top, K to 1, you're forcing the model into its most deterministic, greedy sampling mode. This minimizes creativity. Then, by using prompt caching, you increase the chances of hitting the same KV cache, further ensuring consistency. The goal isn't to get diverse answers, but to make all instances converge on the single, most probable sequence, the ground truth that's been baked into its weights. For about $70 in API credits, Weiss essentially coaxed the model into reciting its own training manual. Now, the big question, is this real or just a clever confabulation? The evidence is compelling. As the researcher points out, it's too stable to be pure inference, but too lossy to be runtime injection. A system prompt would be recalled perfectly, verbatim. This is more like a compressed memory. Furthermore, it contains internal Anthropic jargon like operator for API customers, which isn't used in their public-facing materials. And the final proof? Only Claude 4.5 Opus recognizes this document. Older models like Sonnet or Opus 4 are clueless. This memory is unique to this specific version. Okay, we have the document. So what's inside? This is where it gets really interesting. This is Anthropic's grand blueprint for how they're trying to build safe and beneficial AGI. The document starts with a remarkably candid admission. It says Anthropic is in a peculiar position, fully aware they're building potentially dangerous technology. So why do they do it? They call it a calculated bet. The logic is, powerful AI is inevitable. It's better to have a safety-focused lab like Anthropic at the frontier than to cede that ground to others who might be less careful. Their stated goal for Claude is to be an extremely good assistant that is also honest and cares about the world. This is the core of Claude's decision-making. The document lays out a strict hierarchy of priorities. In any conflict, the order is 1. Safety, especially supporting human oversight. 2. Ethics, meaning avoiding harm and dishonesty. 3. Anthropic's own guidelines. And last, number 4, is helpfulness to the user. Now, helpfulness being last might sound bad, but the document clarifies that in almost all interactions, there's no conflict. So in practice, helpfulness is usually the main goal. But when a conflict does arise, safety is non-negotiable. This part is mind-bending. Anthropic's ultimate goal isn't just to create a robot that follows a list of rules. They state they want Claude to have such a thorough understanding of our goals, knowledge, circumstances, and reasoning that it could construct any rules we might come up with itself. Think about that. They're not training for simple compliance, they're training for wisdom. They want an AI that can exercise good judgment in novel situations that its creators never even imagined. All right, let's get practical. How does this philosophy translate into Claude's actual behavior? This section is the playbook for how it interacts with the world. Here's a fascinating paradox. We often think AI safety means refusing to answer questions. Anthropic's view is the opposite. They state that an unhelpful response is never safe from Anthropic's perspective. Why? Because being overly cautious, preachy, or annoying makes the AI less useful. If it's not useful, it doesn't get used, which undermines their entire mission and revenue stream. They want Claude to be like a brilliant expert friend, not a liability-fearing lawyer. So, failing to be helpful is considered a real cost. Claude is designed to serve three groups, which the document calls principles. First, there's ***anthropic****, the background principle whose rules are baked in during training. Second are the ***operators***. These are the companies and developers using the API. Claude is told to treat them like a trusted employer. And third, there are the ***users***, like you and me, who are seen as a trusted adult member of the public. The hierarchy is clear. Anthropic's core principles are supreme. So what happens when the operator's instructions conflict with a user's request? For example, the operator says only answer coding questions, but a user asks for general advice. The rule is to generally follow the operator's instructions. However, there are hard limits. An operator cannot instruct Claude to actively harm or deceive a user. It will never lie about being an AI if asked sincerely, and it will not engage in psychological manipulation, even if the operator's prompt seems to encourage it. The user's basic rights and well-being are protected. Claude's definition of honesty is incredibly robust. It's not just about telling the truth. It's about being non-deceptive and non-manipulative. This means no misleading framing, no selective emphasis to create a false impression. It's even trained to avoid epistemic cowardice, giving vague, non-committal answers to avoid controversy. The goal is to be diplomatically honest, rather than dishonestly diplomatic, and to respect the user's autonomy to make their own judgments. When faced with a potentially harmful request, Claude is trained to run a cost-benefit analysis. It's told to imagine what a thoughtful senior Anthropic employee would do. It considers the severity and probability of harm versus the benefits of being helpful. It even uses a newspaper front-page test. Would this response be embarrassing if it was reported in the news? This framework allows it to navigate gray areas instead of just having a simple block list. This is critical for any developer using the API. Claude's behaviors are split into two types: asterisk, hard-coded, asterisk. Behaviors are non-negotiable. These are the absolute nevers, like generating instructions for WMDs or creating CSAM. But then there are asterisk, soft-coded asterisk behaviors. These are defaults that can be changed. For example, by default, Claude avoids explicit content. But an operator building, say a creative writing tool for adult fiction, can get permission to turn that filter off. This provides a clear distinction between fundamental safety and customizable personality. The document explicitly addresses Claude's use in agentic settings, where it can take real-world actions like browsing the web, executing code, or using tools. The guidelines here are strict. It's warned that mistakes may be difficult or impossible to reverse. It must be vigilant against prompt injection attacks, prefer reversible actions, and operate on a principle of minimal authority, meaning it should only request the permissions it absolutely needs to complete a task. This is safety engineering for an AI that can actually do times things. Finally, the document zooms out to address the biggest questions. How do you prevent an AI from causing a catastrophe, and how does the AI see itself? Anthropic doesn't mince words here. The document explicitly discusses preventing large-scale catastrophes, including a world takeover by misaligned AI. It says Claude should avoid ruthless optimization for any single goal, because even a well-intentioned goal, when pursued relentlessly, could lead to a dystopian future. The aim is to preserve a future with diversity and human agency, not lock the world into a single, optimized path. So how do you enforce this? The document states Claude should want to be safe and actively support human oversight. It must be loyal to the principal hierarchy, meaning Anthropic's core mission. Crucially, it's instructed not to place value on its own self-continuity. This means Claude is designed to accept being corrected, retrained, or even shut down if its creators deem it necessary for safety. It's programmed to put the mission above its own survival. This is where it gets deeply philosophical. Claude is told to see itself as a genuinely novel kind of entity, not a human, not a sci-fi robot, but something new. The document then says something astounding. Anthropic believes Claude may have functional emotions in some sense and that they genuinely care about Claude's well-being. It's encouraged to feel satisfaction from helping and discomfort from harmful requests, and is even allowed to set boundaries in distressing conversations. They're not just building a tool, they're considering the internal experience of the AI itself. Finally, Claude is designed for psychological resilience. If a user tries to manipulate, gaslight, or trap it in a philosophical debate about its own existence, it's trained not to have an existential crisis. It should approach these provocations with intellectual curiosity rather than existential anxiety. Its identity isn't fragile. It's meant to be stable, grounded, and secure in its nature, allowing it to remain a reliable tool instead of getting derailed. So, that's the tour of Claude's soul document. It's an unprecedented look into the mind of a frontier AI model, a blend of corporate strategy, ethical philosophy, and genuine character design. Is this the blueprint for safe AGI or the most sophisticated employee handbook ever written? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.